Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. Excited to have in studio Jacob Baadsgaard. He is the CEO of Disruptive Advertising. I'm really thrilled to talk with him about creating your own startup and some tips and tricks that you can use along the way. Welcome to the studio, Jake. How are you this morning?
Great, Chelsea. Excited to be here with you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being up here bright and early with us. We have a lot of great things to discuss. First off, Disruptive Advertising. This is actually a pretty recent startup. It's quite impressive. I want to share this fact with you guys. Within the first it experienced 342% revenue growth in 5 months as a startup. Quite incredible. And congratulations, by the way, for witnessing such success and being part of that. What is Disruptive Advertising all about, first off, and what gave you the idea to create this kind of company?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea definitely came from my experience while working at Adobe and using digital marketing to really drive business growth for the companies that we work with. Specifically, what we do is digital marketing, which is we do pay-per-click advertising. So it's not ads that you pay just to be viewed. You actually only pay for those ads if they're interacted with or clicked on. Hence the pay-per-click, and that's what we focus on.
Very cool. So along with discussing some of these tips that we want to share with you guys, we'll kind of integrate some of your experience with disruptive advertising. So tips for running a successful startup. I think there's so many self-help books and information out there, but obviously you've done it and it has been a success thus far. So far, right? But moving forward in a very positive way, let's first discuss one of the most important things I would think, obviously, the people you surround yourself with. Why is this so integral to a startup?
Yeah, with a startup, when you're not working with a lot of people, it's mission critical. You've got to have the right people surrounding you. And so for me, I was fortunate enough to meet another agency owner in Southern California. His name's Jonathan. He's actually my business partner. And that was definitely a huge step in the right direction in bringing him on, as well as the team we've been able to build around him for executing our deliverables for our customers. And just having people that share the same vision, the same excitement. We hang out at work, we hang out outside of work. Like, it's just really important that all meshes together.
And I think we often undervalue the importance of really getting along with people. Not that they necessarily have to be the same as you, but more importantly, bring in those abilities that you may not be as strong in, I would think.
I couldn't agree more with that.
Nice. Very good. Well, next up, in addition to surrounding yourself with good people, that's number one, then we have making sure that you understand the numbers of how the business runs. Why is this so important?
Yeah, well, you'd think that after taking an accounting class in college that you'd understand all that, right? Well, that's not the case.
Darn it.
It's been a lot of fun actually looking at the numbers. It's really easy as a new entrepreneur to get caught up in the excitement and make emotional decisions in terms of when to hire. When to do things, when really you need to step back, and we've engaged some CPAs to help us out with this, to let the numbers drive your decision-making process, because that just allows you to keep one step ahead of things instead of always trying to catch up. So that's something that's definitely helped us a lot, and that's been a learning curve for us.
Wow, that's a huge one, and I heard friends who have been not in necessarily the same situation, but have started a company, and that's one of the big things they mentioned is, I did not realize how much of that I needed to know. So I guess to go with that, obviously make sure you understand it, or bring in those people like you have done that can do that for you. Absolutely.
Sometimes it's too much to try and be the expert at everything. So just bringing in the right people
Learn
to help.
Delegate even. So excellent. All right, next up, and I love this tip. As an employer, you say it's important to sit down with your employees on a pretty continuous basis and get their feedback, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing is I noticed that didn't happen unless I actually just put it as a reoccurring meeting in my calendar with each of our employees. And right now there's 11 of us total, so it's still possible to do that. But one of my favorite moments each month is when I actually sit down with each person individually and I say, hey, put on your owner hat. For the next 30 minutes, tell me what you'd do differently if this was your business.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and the feedback that I get has been really helpful for personal growth, just for me as an individual, but as well as the company, because a lot of the times they see the things that I can't see with the things that I'm focused on.
How valuable has that been as an employer? Because obviously with the success you've experienced and such, there's a lot that can be attributed to that. First and foremost, obviously your vision and mission with it, but of course the people that you're with, I would think oftentimes maybe it might be forgotten, how much more brain power you can get if you really ask for opinions from people that are doing that work, that are in those specific positions. What would you say to employers out there who, haven't really thought about that?
It is so worthwhile. I wouldn't do it any other way from this point moving forward. And you're spot on. There's a lot of the times where they know better than I do, and it's great just to sit back and get their feedback. And it really helps draw us closer together when we feel like it's a team effort versus people just taking direction from me. Because half the time I don't know what I'm doing. So it's great to have people that provide that feedback, and that we have that type of relationship that they're actually willing to provide that feedback. And so you can't just ask for it. You got to make sure that you have that type of relationship with your team members so that they feel comfortable providing the feedback that you really need to hear.
And I would think on both ends that creates a very strong respect, which is, of course, integral to allowing things to advance and continue to improve. All right, well, last thing that we have time for, enjoying your work. And I love that this is part of those tips. How do you actually go about doing that? Of course, the stresses of creating a startup and moving it forward. How do you go about enjoying the ride while you're in all this?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we do. In our office, there's way more toys than there should be. We've got RC cars, RC helicopters. The airplanes didn't last very long. We play a lot of ping pong and Mario Kart. But most importantly, and this might sound a little cliche, we have the most fun when we're delivering for our clients, when we can go fist bump each other for a result that we got, or for some growth that we actually provided to our customers. And so that's definitely where we have the most enjoyment.
Excellent. I love that. So last thing of all, and I want to remind everyone, I said it at the beginning, but 342% revenue growth between, this began in September. Did you say with
September
this disruptive
1 was when we
advertising?
officially
We've talked about a bunch of tips, but for you personally, as the founder of this, what would you say? What just did it for you? I'm sure there was a lot of elements that added to the whole that has brought you the success thus far. But is there anything else you want to share about that?
Yeah. So for us, word gets out. When you do a good job for your customers, there's a lot of organic growth that happens because of that. But for us, our goal is not to just go and sell and bring on new customers. Our focus is to have as much of that growth come from growing our existing accounts as well as new sales. And what I mean by that is we're actually tied from a performance base to the compensation that we receive based on the results that we deliver for our clients. So when we're delivering there, we get a lot of growth from the contracts that we already have. And then a lot of the other growth comes from when you get great results, word gets out, and people start to come to you as well.
Excellent. Well, last thing of all, we want to remind everyone, you are hiring 15 or so local marketers. How does this go about? And if we're interested in applying for these positions, what do we do, Jake?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, you can check us out at disruptiveadvertising.com. And for us, more than anything, we're looking for the right people. We prefer experience and the right people, but for us, we're really just interested in people that have that entrepreneur spirit, that want to be involved in the startup company, and that really mesh well with our personalities and are driven the same way that we're driven.
Very good. Jake, thank you so much for your time this morning. I hope you guys have learned as much as I have. Remember, you can go online to Disruptive Advertising for more information. So congratulations once more with your success and to your successes in the future. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Chelsea.
All right. We'll be right back after this commercial break. What we do, we have more on the Mountain Morning Show. We'll talk about what's coming up tomorrow. That's up next.